Welcome to the Live Wealthy podcast with Dawn, where we are growing our wealth and our worth at the same time. You ready? Let's go. Welcome back to the Live Wealthy podcast show. My name is Dawn. I'm a certified financial planner, a behavioral financial advisor, and the CEO of a wealth advisory company called WELLthy Financial Group, where we help people with comprehensive wealth management. And this is the second part of a two-part episode on this podcast where I'm talking about the concept to live wealthy. Live well with your money, WELL. And that's what I believe is every single person's goal on this planet, is to feel good and have enough money to support their lifestyle, whether it's a big lifestyle or a little lifestyle, exactly the right alignment to support everything they want to do without fear and without a lot of those negative emotions. And the first episode of this 2-series podcast is I talked about the concept and the philosophy around Live Wealthy. And this episode is designed to take you through the process. There's 3 steps to living wealthy, and there's 3 concepts that I talked about earlier. The concepts of own it, earn it, and grow it. So where you're owning your worth, you're earning your wealth, and you're growing your life. So in this episode, I'm going to walk through the 3 concepts that we need to be able to live wealthy. And, if there's something amiss in your life right now, if you're feeling anxious, depressed, stuck, limited, you feel like, maybe you're judging other people or you're just sitting in some negative emotion, I would challenge you to listen to this podcast and understand which one of these concepts where you may be falling short on, so you can fix that and have this opportunity to create more wealth in your life, because more money equals more life. And that is the number one goal that I want for all of you. I mean, that's really why I'm here, is to teach you how to get more money, like the technical aspects of building wealth. And I'm also here to show you how to have a great relationship so you can live out with that money appropriately. So the first step is own your worth. And owning your worth is really about owning the next 6 concepts I'm about to share with you. So there's 6 things in this 3-step process. And the cool thing is that you've already been exposed to these 6 concepts before, but I can tell you the magic, the secret to making this work in your life is understanding how these next 6 concepts work together. So I don't ever want you to look at these concepts as a single entity anymore, or a single concept. I want you to always bring the next 6 concepts together. So how do we own our worth? How do we become more self-aware of our behaviors and our thinking? And how do we become aware of ourselves to get more money in our lives? The first thing is to have faith. You're like, what, Dawn? Yes. To have faith, to have a trust and a belief in something bigger than you. If you are a female watching, most of us females actually, it's not just females. I think men like to do this too, but we love to be in control. And I have learned through my daily relationship in devotions that I need to give up the control. Yes, I want a great life, the best life I can possibly have, but I need to understand that there's a creator that is in charge, and I need to follow that will, not always my will. And in year 2024, you guys, I spent every single day. If I missed a day, I made up a day, but every single day in devotions and learning about what it is to trust in something bigger than myself. And I will tell you, I want you to have power and control on this planet. But to really get that, you need to release that power and control. You got to release the power and control to something greater than yourself. Have faith, have thanksgiving, and trust. That is the first concept. And that concept needs to happen daily in your life. The next concept in owning and understanding yourself is learning about and implementing, like, what is your true vision? You guys, we can't get to a place in life if we don't know exactly what we want that to look like. So your vision is really like your life plan. And I would encourage you to look at, like, are you leading your life or is your life leading you? Like, who is in charge? And what is that final destination? Because we all need to have that vision that's managed through a financial plan and is set on the foundation of those financial standards and those financial expectations and rules in which you behave with your money today, like we talked about in the last episode. So you need to have that vision. Next, we all have a purpose. It's our why. It's what excites us on a day-to-day basis. It's what gets us out of bed. And I would encourage you to look at, if you never had to make another dollar again in your life. Let me repeat that. If you never had to make another dollar in your life, how would you spend your time? That's your purpose. And your purpose can be fulfilled in almost any industry out there. So if you have a purpose and you feel like you're not getting financially paid for the purpose that you're here on this earth to do, I would encourage you to look at different industries, different sectors. Look at what industry is paying more, and you can meet money with purpose and get paid for what you're worth and be super happy living and working in your purpose. All right, that's number 3. Number 4 are your core values. Like, do you really know what your core values are? Your top 5 core values? If you don't, I have a free exercise on my website. You can go there and look at your core values. But your core values are really about what matters most in your life and making sure that we're spending both our time and our money on our core values, time and money. And that is key to not just knowing what your core values are, but that you're implementing, living out your time and money on your core values. Because so many of you, if you think you're broke, you are broke and you live in the constant hustle, grind, and worry about money because you're not fully spending your money on the things that you value most. So you run out. Okay. Core values are super important. You know what else is important? Is knowing your top 5 strengths. Like, if you've done the Strengths Finder, the Gallup Strengths Finder, I'm not associated with them at all, but it's the best $25 you can spend is knowing what your top 5 strengths are and being able to live out those strengths and earn an income with those strengths. I can tell you right now, I can literally rattle off my top strengths in order: positivity, activator, I get stuff done; maximizer, I value excellence; woo, it's winning people over; and futuristic, like I can see, not like spiritually, but I can see what the opportunities are in the future and I can start to implement life today with that. Those are my top 5 strengths. My top 5 core values is spirituality, health, relationships, excitement, and achievement. I can rattle off my top 5 strengths, my top 5 values like that. And I have them so ingrained in my brain because that's how I operate every single day of my life. That's how I'm able to make more money and be more satisfied. So strengths are so super important. And you know what else is important? Is something we don't want to do, but we need to look at our weaknesses. Like, what is your biggest weakness in life? And I can tell you this, that your weakness is actually just a shadow of one of your strengths. I told you my second strength is activation, like activator. I take action. Well, guess what the shadow or the negative side of that is? It is impatience, right? So I have no patience. And if I look at any of my financial background, if I look at the history of me building wealth, anytime I wasn't able to build wealth in an efficient way is because of that shadow of my strength. The impatientness got in the way. In fact, it's cost me probably $1 million over my life by being impatient. So I want you to understand your weakness, because that's the breaking point of where it's going to, we all have these weaknesses, but that's where you're going to fail. If you're not in a place where you want to be, it's because of your weakness. And you know what else is really cool about these 6 concepts is anytime you find yourself aware of operating in your weakness, I want you to go back to that first concept of having faith. Like every single day, I find myself being impatient. And what I do is I recognize, I have that self-awareness of my thinking and my behaviors so I can modify them. And I think, oh my gosh, I'm so impatient. Like I'm at the store, I'm in the wrong aisle and it's driving me crazy. Because now I have to walk from store 8, at the end of the store over here, and I get frustrated. I start sweating and I get mad and I start running people over and blah, blah, blah. Instead of like, that's the self-awareness that like, that's my natural tendency. But instead I go, this is a weakness. I'm going to use that time instead of being impatient and creating toxic energy out there on the planet. I'm going to take that time in my weakness and turn it into faith. And that's where I'm going to have a conversation with my creator and breathe and pray and meditate and just be grateful. And it's so interesting how you can turn that weakness into something super positive in your life so you don't waste money to get to your goal. So these 6 concepts are so vitally important. I do want to focus in on a couple of them because they relate to money. And it's all this live wealthy concept is all about the alignment, the proper alignment of your money to your lifestyle. So a concept that has changed my life is when I learned how to earn from my strengths and spend from my values. Let me say it again. A concept that has changed my life is when I learned how to earn from my strengths and spend from my values. So I make sure I spend at least 80% of my working time earning an income that's in alignment with my top 5 strengths. And I make sure that I spend approximately, and I say approximately because, you don't really actually measure it down to the percentage, but the majority of my time spending my money from my core values. So my core values of spirituality, I spend my money there. Health, I spend my money there. Relationships, I spend my money there. Excitement, I sure spend my money there. Like, what does excitement mean to me? It means like entertaining and having fun and, living in a beautiful home. Like that's what that means to me. So I'm going to spend money there guilt-free. Achievement is a core value of mine, but that actually helps me make money instead of, spending money. So I want you to be aware of this concept to earn from your strengths and spend from your values. And if you haven't done the core value exercise, you guys, I have a free core value exercise on my website that you can have access to. And I'd encourage you, your spouse, anybody that you're close to do it, and then really find what's similar and what's different. Because when you implement this concept of earn from your strengths, spend from your values, a couple of things are going to happen. You're going to realize that your income goes up and you feel like you have more money because you're spending it the right way. If you have debt, the debt will go away because you're not spending wrong anymore. And all of this allows you to still live for today guilt-free, like allows you to spend money today and have a life without just having to realize I can't do anything for 10 or 20 years because I have to plan for tomorrow. It allows you to live for today and plan for tomorrow. It's super, super powerful. And when you implement earn from your strengths, spend from your values, and you implement faith, vision, purpose, and understand your weaknesses, I'm telling you, you will stand on an unbreakable foundation that no one can take away from you. Because you're going to be so self-aware of yourself that you're going to become a better human being. You're going to make more money and have more fulfillment in life. That's how you own your worth. The second step is to earn your wealth. Now, earning your wealth has nothing to do with money, but it has everything to do with money. Earning your wealth is about earning the right income so you can live with the right outcome. Two opposite but interconnected forces. So we're talking about earning an income. So I'm guessing you all have earned income. And I want to ask you, is yours enough to take care of the things you want to do in life? And if it's not, I will tell you how to get more income in your life is to follow a couple of rules that I have for you. And these rules are significant. So I would encourage you to write them down. The first rule is if you want to earn more income, you need to earn your way to a better life by learning how to productively respond to life's challenges. It's the secret of life. The secret of life is learning how to respond productively to life's challenges. No one's immune to challenges and conflict and obstacles. None of us are. It's all how we respond and how we push through that negative situation to get us on the other side. It is the secret of life. The first is how we productively respond to the challenges. The second rule is what I call bossing up. Like any of you that have seen me speak, I talk a lot about we got to boss up, right? So what does boss up really mean? Boss up really means it's about getting uncomfortable. We have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. We have to do the hard stuff in life. We have to make sacrifices in life to be able to have enough and live an elevated lifestyle. We got to get uncomfortable. But the beautiful thing is about getting uncomfortable and sacrificing some of your life is that when you look back, you will realize that that uncomfortableness is way short-lived than you actually having the financial success and getting comfortable. But we have to experience it. So I say this because if I look at the history of the growth of my income, I had to follow these two rules: productively respond and boss up. I remember when I first got married. I married my high school sweetheart, and we are still together today, 37 years later. And I specifically remember that, we didn't do the core value exercise 37 years ago, but I remember that there was this distinct, fundamentally different in our values and what we wanted out of life. And I remember my husband wanted a simple life. He was fine. His value was simplicity. Like he valued a simple life. Well, I valued excitement and I wanted an exciting life, a big life full of energy and fun and, all of the things. And that was a disconnect for us. So being presented with this and not really realizing it, but I had to learn how to productively respond. So what does that mean? I had to learn how to, it was on me to live a bigger life, then I needed to go out and find out how to make more money. I couldn't blame it on him. I had to go out and find a way to make more money and that would support my core value of excitement. So I did just that. I figured that out. How do you grow more wealth? Well, you learn about wealth. I got in the financial planning industry. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of sacrifice. When I first started, I didn't get paid anything, right? I didn't get paid anything. And for a couple of years, it's the cold calling with not a lot of success. It's passing exam after exam after exam so you can call yourself a financial advisor. It was tough, like literally no money to even meet some of our needs. And that took a little bit of time. And while you're in it, it sucks. And it feels like forever. But looking back, you're like, wow, it was worth it. Right? So I started in my industry, and then, to grow more income, I needed to get more of a bigger certification. So I got my certified financial planner, CFP certification. And it's like getting a master's degree in financial planning. And so it's like going to school full time while you're working and building a full-time business, right? Working more than 40 hours a week. Um, and all while raising two little girls that were born 18 months apart, that were age 2 and 3, that needed their mama. I needed them. And yet I was spending all my waking hours when they were sleeping studying stuff that I'll never use, like studying the duration of a bond fund and how to calculate the duration of a bond when, my God, I didn't give a crap about that. I've never in 25 years been asked anything about that. Like, but it's the red tape that you have to cross the line through to get to the other side of income, right? I had to sacrifice time. And I'm telling you this because it was night after night of exhaustion and tears and thinking like, I'm not going to be able to pass all this. And sometimes I didn't pass and I had to retake tests again and it was messy. And, I was so fear driven that people were going to think I was a failure that I just kept going. And it was a lot. Okay. It was a lot, but I walked through the pain because I wanted more income. And then you start getting more income and you start getting successful. And then through my career, I wanted to be able to partner with other advisors and did that. But then I'll never forget one day I was called into an office and I was told by another colleague that was in charge of operations that my income payout was going to be less because the exact words were, "Why, Dawn, would you ever need more money than X?" And this comment came from somebody who was making more than double of what I was making. And you start to believe, like, am I even worthy of more? Maybe I'm chasing money and not feeling like I'm deserving or worthy of more. And, it hurt. And I was in that meeting and I literally almost passed out. And I went home that day and I remember, how do I productively respond to this situation? Well, if I'm going to be full disclosure, I unproductively responded with a lot of bad mouthing and words and comments that I said to my husband that aren't appropriate for a podcast. But, I had to sit with it and deal with my emotions and figure out, is this appropriate? Well, what happened was I decided to boss up. I decided to walk away with the risk of losing all of my clients that took 15 years to build. I've never been so stressed out in my life. Like it literally physically showed up in my body. The stress did. And I will tell you, as hard as that was, walking through that and having to shift my mindset of, yes, I am worthy of more. And who is this other person to tell me what I'm worth financially? And I owe it to myself and I owe it to others. I owe it to my family to walk away. And I bossed up and did that. And, success. So I tell you this because success comes with a ton of challenges. You get more successful and then people want you to fail. People talk bad about you. People like dog you, talk behind your back. They take advantage of you. They steal from you. And, even this past year, I had someone say to me, "Dawn, you have it all." And I was like, huh, like you don't need anything else. You have it all. And I'm thinking, all this, some negative energy coming towards me when I'm like, but you have no idea the amount of work and sacrifice and cries and insecures and doubts and all of the things, right? No one knows all of those things and how much time and energy you've put in and how many times you failed and got back up. And no one knows because you don't complain about it, right? So I tell you this because so many times, you guys, is that we give up our worth and our wealth and we shrink in response to either our own insecurities or the insecurities of others, or we allow someone else and the intimidation of someone else own our outcome. And so I'm here to tell you that it's 100% acceptable for you to boss up and to expand your income and to expect to live a bigger life. It's essential in building your internal personal security and your external financial security, your worth and your wealth. And it is your right as a human, without compromise or without guilt, to own and live out your values every single day of your life, and to create and have enough wealth that empowers you to live life on your own terms. That's how you earn your wealth. And once you've earned your wealth, the easiest part is to grow your life. Growing your life is about growing your money, because we can't get wealthy on our income alone. We need to make sure our money works equally or harder for us than we do for it. So how do you have your money work hard for you so you can have this enoughness? Well, it all comes down to the alignment, like I talked about earlier. And most of us don't have money alignment in our life. I have found through 25 years of being a wealth advisor is that people tend to over save their money or overspend their money. They're in one of two categories. And why do we either overspend or oversave? Well, it really comes down to fear. It's a fear of either not having enough or a fear of not being enough. And taking away the fear and showing you technically how to build wealth and showing you technically and emotionally how to change your behavior so you grow your internal worth, which I call your internal wealth, is really how you overcome oversaving or overspending and live in alignment. And the first step of living in alignment is to always pay your future self first. Like that, what does that mean, Dawn? It means like a minimal of 10% of every dollar that you make goes into an investment so you can invest your money. Okay. A minimum of 10%. My best clients have saved over 30% every single year, but it doesn't necessarily always take 30%, but the minimum is 10%. Okay. What's the second step? It's being able to minimize the right expenses you have in your life so you can afford to save for your tomorrow. So what's your biggest expense? Your taxes, right? I can tell you that research says that about 30% of us overpay our tax bill every single year. 30% of us. And as an entrepreneur, that tax bill is overpaid by about $9,000 a year. So if you take that through your career of 40 years and say, instead of overpaying your taxes by $9,000, you put it into an investment making, let's say 8% a year, what are you giving up? Like what kind of money would you have if you didn't overpay your taxes by that $9,000? You'd have over $2 million, $2 million, over $2 million. Okay. I tell you this because I don't want you to overpay your taxes. I want you to have enough money to be able to afford to plan and save for your future. And I want you to have a proactive strategy. This isn't a strategy that, it's year 2025 and it's something that, most of us operate where it's April 10th and we're like, crap, we got to get our taxes done for 2024. And I got to scramble and get all, my profit and loss done. And I got to get all the numbers done and hand it to my accountant so he has 3 minutes to do my taxes. That's not what I'm talking about. It's about having a proactive strategy, hiring a CPA. That's why I have a CPA in-house under my investment firm, because investment and income taxes can erode and eat away at your growth of money. And we need the money to be able to have our future. Okay. Growing your life is growing your investments. It's also about learning how to invest. And there's a lot of so-called experts out there that tell you how to invest your money. And crypto is a big investment this year. And I'm not dogging or saying no to crypto. I'm not saying no to investments in AI or technology. No, what I'm telling you is that you have to have the foundation of investments. You have to have built up enough wealth where you have a foundational portfolio where you can take 5 to 10% off and go invest in crypto or AI or any of these other really risky investments. I want you to have those investments, but it can't be the end all be all where you take the only money that you have and invest in one asset class. Like that is not smart. You also have to look for consistent investment performances. Out there, people are selling you like chasing rate of returns, like chase this. This has a better rate of return. But when you really do the math, consistent, boring performance, 7, 8%. Consistency, regular performance will outperform those risky investments over time. You look for investments that have low fees and how to and investments that minimize your tax. And I share these concepts with you because it's going to cost you. It costs you a lot of money to not know these things. I've done some research and I have found that it costs you double the amount of money you could have by just not knowing, like not equipping yourself with somebody that can like objectively give you advice. I also know the cost of inaction is the most expensive. If you do nothing, it costs you way more than you doing something and getting your money to work for you. This live wealthy concept, living well with your money, is about understanding that you have to have friction. You have to go from friction if you truly want to experience freedom, financial freedom in your life. Own it, earn it, and grow it. Own it is about that spiritual connection and really understanding yourself, because then you make really good decisions and you are in control and have power. Earning your wealth is the personal growth that we need to be able to grow our incomes. There's a direct correlation. And growing your life is about growing your money, your investments, because we can't get wealthy on your own. What is holding you back? What is holding you back from fully stepping into your worth and your wealth? Is it fear, doubt, judgment, you judging yourself? Like, what is it? Because I can tell you that none of those things, none of those negative things are bigger than you. If you want to live wealthy, you just need to own it, earn it, and grow it. And when you live wealthy, no one will be more powerful than you.